How does it feel saying yes to others? How does it feel to watch your own needs slip further into the shadows while you offer your time, your energy, your very essence to those around you? Perhaps you've convinced yourself it's selfless, even noble, to become the dependable one, the fixer, the one who adjusts. But let's ask ourselves honestly, what have we truly gained from it? Imagine yourself, day after day, weaving yourself into knots for others until you're nearly unrecognizable, even to yourself. How many times have you felt the strain of carrying more than you can bear, yet still reached out to carry another's load? How often have you felt the quiet sting of neglect, not from others, but from yourself? And yet, you continue, driven by a strange loyalty to everyone else's needs but your own. Amor fati, the love of one's fate. It teaches us acceptance, but not surrender to suffering that can be avoided. To love your fate does not mean to be at the mercy of others' needs, their judgments, or their demands. It does not mean fading into the background of your own life, becoming a distant echo of who you once were. Rather, it is a call to honor the unique path set out for you, to treasure yourself enough to live fully and without compromise. Reflect for a moment on this. What if, all along, you were never meant to be diminished? What if this life of constant adjustments, endless people-pleasing, and quiet sacrifice was not your true path, but a detour? What if putting yourself last was, in fact, the very thing standing between you and the life you've always deserved? The Stoics tell us that to master oneself is to master one's fate. When we sacrifice our own needs, we sacrifice the very essence of who we are. We trade our time for temporary approval, our energy for acceptance that vanishes as quickly as it comes. By saying yes to others while saying no to ourselves, we become ghosts, drifting through life as mere shadows of who we could be. But imagine if, just once, you said yes to yourself. Imagine if you valued your time, your dreams, and your own voice as much as you valued everyone else's. Picture a life where your needs are not the afterthought, but the priority. Where you walk your path unapologetically, without bending, without losing pieces of yourself along the way. This journey of choosing yourself is not about abandoning others or rejecting the love we give. It's about embracing the responsibility we have to nurture our own soul, to live our truth, to honor ourselves as deeply as we honor the fates. For in putting ourselves first, we do not lose. Rather, we finally find what it means to live in true alignment with the path we were meant to walk. So I ask you, how long will you keep saying yes to others at the expense of yourself? And if not now, when will you begin the journey to reclaim your life? So if you're ready to reclaim your life and learn the steps to prioritize yourself, be sure to subscribe and stay with me until the end. This journey to self-empowerment is about to begin, and you won't want to miss a single step. 1. Why putting yourself first matters. We live in a world that often glorifies self-sacrifice as a virtue. From a young age, many of us are taught to prioritize the needs and happiness of others, believing that to put ourselves first is somehow selfish, a deviation from what it means to be kind or compassionate. But in truth, this way of thinking only traps us in cycles of burnout, resentment, and unfulfilled potential. Putting yourself first is not selfish. It's the foundation of a balanced, meaningful life. When you consistently place others above yourself, you pour from an empty cup, constantly giving away energy, time, and resources you don't have to spare. Imagine trying to nurture a garden without ever taking time to replenish the soil or drawing water from a well that's never refilled. Just as these resources eventually run dry, so too does the spirit, if not nurtured. By not attending to our own needs, we deplete ourselves, risking mental and emotional exhaustion. This exhaustion can breed resentment, even toward those we care about, for it's natural to feel frustrated when one is constantly giving and rarely receiving. But when we put ourselves first, something remarkable happens. Prioritizing self-care, whether that means taking time for rest, investing in personal growth, or simply creating boundaries, strengthens us. It renews our energy and refuels our capacity to engage with others more authentically. It allows us to contribute from a place of abundance rather than scarcity, giving generously without feeling compromised. True compassion begins with compassion for oneself. In Stoic philosophy, there's a profound respect for one's own responsibility to self. The Stoics understood that, while we may have duties to others, our greatest duty is to nurture and strengthen our own character, to protect our mental tranquility. Epictetus once said, "No person is free who is not master of themselves." And how can we claim mastery over our lives if we are constantly ruled by the whims and demands of others? Putting yourself first doesn't mean turning your back on the world or rejecting connections. Rather, it means grounding yourself firmly in your own well-being so that you can stand stronger for others. Just as a tree must anchor its roots deeply to withstand storms, we too must fortify our inner lives to face life's inevitable challenges. Self-prioritization equips us to be present in relationships with resilience and integrity, showing up not as depleted versions of ourselves, but as whole and fulfilled individuals. This shift toward self-prioritization invites us to reconsider what it means to be truly compassionate. Genuine compassion is sustainable only when it comes from a balanced heart and a clear mind. By putting yourself first, you allow yourself to be fully present in your own life, giving others the benefit of your true self, not the shell of someone stretched too thin. This is where real strength lies, in the courage to love oneself enough to live authentically, with purpose, and without regret. Ultimately, putting yourself first is an act of courage and self-respect. It's a declaration that your life, your dreams, and your well-being are worthy of attention and care. And as you honor yourself in this way, you empower those around you to do the same. 2. The Stoic view on self-care. To the Stoics, self-care was not indulgent, nor was it about ignoring the needs of others. It was an essential duty. Stoic philosophy, grounded in personal responsibility, teaches that a life well lived is one where an individual nurtures their mind, body, and spirit to act with strength and purpose. Figures like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius saw self-mastery as central to living in accordance with nature. And self-mastery begins with self-care, treating oneself with the respect and attention one deserves. In our modern world, self-care is often mistaken for indulgence. We picture luxurious getaways or time spent detached from responsibility. But to the Stoics, true self-care was far more profound. It was an ongoing practice of attending to one's mind, making it strong, resilient, and balanced. Self-care was about fortifying one's soul against the inevitable challenges of life, so that, when called upon, one could respond with wisdom and courage rather than reactivity or fear. As Seneca put it, we should every night call ourselves to an account. What infirmity have I mastered today? What passions opposed? What temptation resisted? What virtue acquired? This daily reflection represents Stoic self-care. It is not about self-indulgence, but self-improvement, rooted in a desire to be the best version of oneself. Self-care for the Stoics meant taking responsibility for one's emotional reactions, nurturing one's mental clarity, and grounding oneself in virtues like patience, courage, and self-discipline. Through this approach, they cultivated inner strength and were less likely to be swayed by external circumstances. When we practice Stoic self-care, we begin to master our inner lives rather than being tossed about by external events or the expectations of others. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled as one of Rome's most powerful emperors, understood the importance of this. Despite being responsible for millions, he practiced self-reflection daily to ensure he was ruled by reason rather than ego or impulse. For him, self-care was about maintaining his mental clarity, grounding himself, and guarding his peace of mind. He reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In today's context, we can draw from this ancient wisdom by viewing self-care not as an escape from responsibility, but as an essential element of it. Taking time to prioritize one's mental and physical well-being is not just an investment in oneself, but in the quality of relationships and contributions one can offer to the world. Stoic self-care isn't about saying no to others. It's about saying yes to nurturing a version of yourself that can show up fully, give generously, and live authentically. When we care for ourselves with Stoic principles in mind, we are not only kinder to ourselves, but also more resilient in facing life's demands. This type of self-care fosters inner stability, allowing us to remain calm and clear-headed in adversity, to stand firmly in our values, and to act with integrity, regardless of the chaos around us. This is the Stoic view on self-care, a practice that elevates not only our own lives, but enriches all those who share in our journey. 3. The power of boundaries. Defining what you will and won't accept. Boundaries are the invisible lines that separate us from others. They define what is ours to bear and what belongs to someone else. They help us protect our time, energy, and emotional well-being. To put yourself first, learning to set and maintain boundaries is crucial. For the Stoics, maintaining boundaries wasn't about selfishness or isolation. It was about exercising reason, respecting oneself, and acting in harmony with nature. Imagine for a moment the impact of living without boundaries. When we say yes to every request, take on others' burdens as our own, or allow our lives to be dictated by others' needs and desires, we lose touch with ourselves. Without boundaries, we become vulnerable to emotional exhaustion, resentment, and a feeling of being lost. We might end up sacrificing our goals and values to meet the expectations or demands of those around us. Boundaries are not walls to keep others out. They are guidelines that allow us to preserve our inner peace, maintain our values, and honor our own needs. To a Stoic, boundaries are an act of wisdom. They represent our understanding that we cannot control others' actions, only our own responses. By setting boundaries, we take responsibility for our lives, ensuring we're not led astray by the whims and desires of others. Epictetus teaches, "Seek not for events to happen as you wish, but wish for events to happen as they do, and you will be serene." This is the Stoic way of accepting what is within our control and releasing what is not. By setting boundaries, we claim ownership over our lives, deciding what we will and will not accept. Setting boundaries is also about respect, respect for ourselves and others. It means valuing our time, our well-being, and our personal growth. When we establish boundaries, we communicate to others that we have a deep sense of self-respect and expect others to treat us accordingly. This doesn't mean rejecting or distancing ourselves from others. It means creating space for ourselves within the relationships we value. Healthy boundaries allow us to be present in these relationships without losing ourselves. For example, if you value time for personal growth, you might set aside specific hours each week for self-reflection, learning, or creative pursuits. If your peace of mind is a priority, you may set limits on the amount of time you spend in environments or with people who drain your energy. Boundaries are deeply personal. They require us to reflect on our values, needs, and goals, and to stand firm in them. By setting boundaries, we protect the essence of who we are. This act of self-respect is essential for living a life in alignment with our true selves. Boundaries give us the space to grow, to pursue our passions, and to nurture our well-being. They allow us to engage with the world without losing ourselves, to give generously without feeling depleted, and to walk our path with confidence and purpose. In short, boundaries are the foundation of a life lived with intention. They remind us that, while we are part of a larger world, we are also individuals with unique needs, goals, and dreams. When we honor these boundaries, we honor ourselves and, in doing so, create a life of greater balance, strength, and fulfillment. 4. Self-compassion. Being your own greatest ally. Self-compassion is one of the most powerful and often overlooked forms of strength. In a world that prizes productivity and resilience, we can easily fall into the trap of pushing ourselves relentlessly, setting impossibly high standards, and harshly criticizing ourselves when we fall short. But true strength comes not from constant self-criticism, but from the kindness and understanding we extend to ourselves. Putting yourself first means learning to treat yourself with the same patience, forgiveness, and care that you'd offer a close friend. The Stoics, too, understood the importance of compassion, not just toward others, but toward oneself. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Part of that inner strength lies in nurturing a compassionate mindset, in guiding oneself with understanding rather than judgment, and in practicing acceptance over frustration. When we lack self-compassion, we are often caught in cycles of guilt, shame, and frustration. We replay our mistakes, agonize over perceived failures, and drain our energy by dwelling on what we could have done differently. In this state, our mind becomes clouded, and our capacity for growth becomes stifled. Without self-compassion, personal growth becomes a punishing journey rather than an enriching experience. Self-compassion is the antidote to this cycle. By practicing it, we allow ourselves to accept our humanity. We understand that mistakes and missteps are not reflections of inadequacy, but stepping stones to growth. Embracing this mindset is about acknowledging that each of us is a work in progress, and that growth, by its very nature, involves failure. Just as a gardener knows that every season brings change, both in beauty and in challenge, we too must nurture our own growth with patience and care. This approach is not about excusing poor decisions or avoiding accountability. Rather, it's about recognizing that our path to improvement is a process, one that requires both determination and gentleness. Self-compassion allows us to face our imperfections with courage and resilience, to learn from them without the heavy burden of guilt. It opens up space for us to reflect, to recalibrate, and to continue moving forward. To cultivate self-compassion, start by becoming aware of your inner dialogue. Notice the times when your self-talk is critical or harsh. and gently guide it toward kindness. Imagine speaking to yourself as you would to a friend or loved one who is struggling. Shift your language from "I should have" or "I failed" to "I am learning" or "I am growing." Remind yourself that every journey is unique and that your worth is not defined by a single moment or outcome. In embracing self-compassion, you become your own greatest ally. You learn to build a foundation of strength that is rooted not in perfection, but in resilience. With self-compassion, setbacks no longer feel like endings. They become opportunities for renewal. As you put yourself first in this way, you'll find that you're able to move through life with a greater sense of peace, acceptance, and joy. 5. Committing to personal growth. Building a life of purpose. Putting yourself first ultimately means making a commitment to your own growth, embracing the journey of continual self-improvement, and finding purpose in becoming the best version of yourself. This commitment isn't merely about achieving success or acquiring skills. It's about nurturing your inner life, expanding your understanding of the world, and striving for greater wisdom and character. By putting personal growth at the forefront of your life, you set a foundation that enriches every area of your life. The Stoics believed deeply in the idea of continual self-improvement. They taught that we should always strive to become wiser, more virtuous, and more resilient. For them, personal growth wasn't about outward achievements, but about developing a strong, grounded character that could withstand any hardship. Seneca reminds us, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." In other words, life is a journey of growth, not a destination to reach. Each day offers us new lessons, new opportunities for growth, and new ways to strengthen ourselves for the challenges ahead. When we prioritize personal growth, we align ourselves with this Stoic vision. We become willing to step out of our comfort zones, to question our habits and beliefs, and to pursue experiences that challenge us. This isn't always an easy path. Growth often involves facing discomfort, pushing through fear, and confronting parts of ourselves we may prefer to avoid. But it's precisely through these experiences that we cultivate resilience, humility, and inner strength. Personal growth also leads us to a deeper understanding of who we are and what we value. In a world filled with distractions and competing demands, it's easy to lose sight of our core values, to drift through life without a sense of direction. But by committing to growth, we continuously reconnect with our purpose and values. We become clearer about what matters to us, what we stand for, and what we're willing to pursue. This clarity empowers us to live authentically, to make decisions that are aligned with our true selves, and to find meaning in each step we take. Moreover, personal growth enhances our capacity to serve others. Just as a tree can only provide shade and nourishment once it's strong and rooted, we can only offer genuine support to others when we ourselves are whole. By prioritizing our growth, we're able to give more fully, to act with greater empathy, and to inspire others to seek their own paths of growth and self-discovery. True service to others begins with a commitment to ourselves. To begin this journey, take small steps each day toward learning, reflection, and self-improvement. Set aside time for activities that inspire you, whether that's reading, journaling, practicing a new skill, or exploring a new interest. Regularly reflect on your progress, celebrate your growth, and remain patient with yourself in the process. Growth is gradual, and each small step you take adds to the strength and depth of your character. By putting yourself first in this way, you create a life filled with purpose, resilience, and fulfillment. Personal growth is not a path of selfishness. It's a journey toward becoming a fuller, wiser, and more grounded person. And as you walk this path, you not only enrich your own life, but also create a lasting, positive impact on the lives of those around you. 6. Embracing rest and reflection. Finding strength in stillness. In a world that glorifies hustle and constant productivity, rest and reflection are often seen as weaknesses or wasted time. But putting yourself first means embracing the necessity of rest and the power of stillness. True resilience is not born from constant motion, but from the balance of action and rest, from giving yourself the time to renew, reflect, and recharge. In this quiet space, we gain clarity, reconnect with our purpose, and fortify ourselves for life's challenges. The Stoics understood the need for reflection and renewal, teaching that the soul requires quiet moments to understand itself. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, people look for retreats for themselves in the country, by the coast, or in the hills. But nowhere can a person find a retreat more peaceful or more free of trouble than their own soul. In embracing rest, we create an inner sanctuary where we can step back from the noise of the world, reconnect with our values, and assess our progress. This time of reflection is as vital as any action we take. It is here that we find strength, perspective, and insight. Rest is not only essential for physical renewal, but also for mental clarity. Without time to pause and reset, we become fatigued, reactive, and easily overwhelmed. In this state, our decisions are less intentional, our emotions are more volatile, and we lose sight of our priorities. Taking time for rest is a way of honoring our limits, acknowledging that we are not machines, and recognizing that true productivity requires balance. It's a simple but profound act of self-respect, reminding ourselves that our well-being is just as important as any task we set out to accomplish. Reflection, meanwhile, gives us the chance to gain a higher perspective on our lives. It's in these quiet moments that we can evaluate our actions, learn from our experiences, and understand how we're evolving. Are we living according to our values? Are we making progress toward our goals? Are there areas in our lives where we need to course correct? Reflection is the space where we ask these questions, where we face ourselves honestly and consider where we're headed. Rest and reflection also offer us the opportunity to cultivate gratitude, a practice the Stoics held in high regard. By taking time to reflect, we can acknowledge the things we have, the lessons we've learned, and the people who support us. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have, allowing us to approach life with a greater sense of contentment and inner peace. It transforms rest into a sacred space where we appreciate the journey as much as the destination. To integrate rest and reflection into your life, start by carving out intentional moments of quiet. This could be a few minutes each morning to meditate, an evening walk to unwind, or a weekly ritual of journaling your thoughts and experiences. Make this time sacred, free from distractions and obligations. Use it to center yourself, to listen to your inner voice, and to gain clarity on what truly matters. When we prioritize rest and reflection, we not only honor our need for renewal, but also build resilience from within. We become less reactive, more intentional, and more at peace with our journey. Putting yourself first doesn't mean constantly pushing forward. It means understanding when to pause, when to listen to your inner self, and when to allow yourself the grace of stillness. In these quiet moments, we find a strength that is unwavering, a clarity that is grounding, and a sense of purpose that guides us through life's ebbs and flows. 7. Setting boundaries. Guarding your peace and energy. Setting boundaries is a vital act of self-respect and an essential part of putting yourself first. It's not about pushing people away or isolating yourself, but about protecting your peace, energy, and mental well-being. When you set clear, healthy boundaries, you define what you will and won't accept in your interactions and commitments, allowing you to live in alignment with your values and to nurture meaningful relationships without sacrificing yourself. The Stoics taught that while we can't control others, we have full control over our reactions and choices. Epictetus advised, "Know, first, who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." Boundaries are an expression of this wisdom. By setting them, you affirm your values, protect your energy, and clarify what is essential to you. In defining where your limits lie, you cultivate a life that reflects your inner beliefs rather than the demands or expectations of others. Establishing boundaries can be challenging, especially in a culture that often celebrates selflessness to the point of self-sacrifice. Many people fear that by saying no or asserting their limits, they risk disappointing others or being seen as selfish. But boundaries are not acts of selfishness. They are expressions of self-awareness and self-care. When you set boundaries, you are honoring your time, energy, and mental health, ensuring that you have the resources to fully invest in the people and activities that matter most. Boundaries also strengthen relationships by fostering mutual respect. When you communicate your limits openly and kindly, you invite others to do the same, creating an environment of honesty and respect. Healthy boundaries prevent resentment from building up, as you're not constantly stretching yourself thin or agreeing to things that drain you. Instead, you're able to show up fully in your relationships, offering genuine support, empathy, and presence without feeling depleted or overwhelmed. Practically, setting boundaries might mean limiting the time you spend on certain obligations, saying no to commitments that don't align with your goals, or protecting your time for rest and self-care. It could also mean creating emotional boundaries, refusing to take on others' burdens, or not allowing yourself to be drawn into negativity. By being intentional about your boundaries, you create space for your own growth, health, and happiness. To set effective boundaries, start by identifying areas in your life where you feel stretched, drained, or resentful. These feelings are often signals that a boundary needs to be established. Reflect on what truly matters to you, and consider how you can protect these priorities. Communicate your boundaries clearly and assertively, but with kindness. You don't have to apologize or over-explain. Simply state your needs and hold to them. By prioritizing your own needs through boundaries, you create a life that feels balanced, intentional, and sustainable. You regain control over your time and energy, allowing yourself to focus on what's most important to you. This isn't an act of isolation, but one of empowerment. By taking care of yourself, you're better able to care for others and to contribute meaningfully to the world around you. In putting yourself first with boundaries, you cultivate a peace that anchors you, a strength that sustains you, and a resilience that allows you to face life with confidence and clarity. 8. Practicing self-compassion, the foundation of inner strength. One of the most profound ways to put yourself first is to cultivate self-compassion. This means treating yourself with kindness, understanding, and patience, especially in moments of failure or hardship. It's the practice of speaking to yourself with the same empathy you would offer to a dear friend. When you make self-compassion a priority, you develop a resilient inner foundation that enables you to face life's challenges without becoming your own harshest critic. The Stoics often spoke of facing life's trials with courage and wisdom. Yet, this courage doesn't come from perfection or the absence of mistakes. Instead, it comes from an acceptance of human limitations and a commitment to growth. As Seneca wrote, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." True strength lies not in demanding flawlessness from ourselves, but in understanding that every stumble, every setback, is a chance to learn and evolve. Self-compassion is the practice of embracing ourselves fully, in both our strengths and our vulnerabilities, knowing that growth is a journey. Self-compassion helps break the cycle of self-criticism that can hold us back. Many of us struggle with negative self-talk, berating ourselves for every perceived mistake or shortcoming. This inner critic can become a barrier to progress, trapping us in doubt and hesitation. By practicing self-compassion, we silence this harsh voice and replace it with one that is nurturing, encouraging, and forgiving. Instead of viewing setbacks as failures, we begin to see them as opportunities for learning and growth. Practicing self-compassion also fosters emotional resilience. Life's challenges can be tough, and we often can't control the hardships we face. However, by showing ourselves kindness, we create a safe space within where we can process pain, heal, and find strength. Self-compassion allows us to acknowledge our struggles without judgment, giving us the emotional support we need to persevere. This inner kindness becomes a source of comfort and encouragement, helping us to move forward even in the face of adversity. Moreover, self-compassion nurtures our relationships with others. When we are kind to ourselves, we become less dependent on external validation. We're less likely to seek approval from others or rely on them to boost our self-worth. This independence allows us to form healthier, more balanced connections, as we're no longer looking to others to fill our emotional needs. We can approach relationships from a place of wholeness, offering genuine support and empathy without feeling drained or insecure. To cultivate self-compassion, start by practicing mindfulness. Observe your inner dialogue and notice when you're being critical or harsh with yourself. Challenge these thoughts by asking, "Would I say this to a friend?" When you catch yourself in moments of self-judgment, gently reframe your thoughts with kindness. Acknowledge that everyone makes mistakes, that setbacks are part of life, and that you are deserving of understanding and grace. In putting yourself first through self-compassion, you develop a resilient and loving relationship with yourself. You learn to navigate life with gentleness, to accept yourself fully, and to grow through both triumphs and failures. Self-compassion doesn't make us weak. It empowers us to face life with a quiet confidence, a deep resilience, and an inner peace that no external challenge can shake. In this way, self-compassion becomes the foundation upon which we build a life of strength, authenticity, and true self-respect. 9. Investing in personal growth. Committing to lifelong learning and development. To put yourself first means to continuously invest in your growth, understanding that the pursuit of knowledge, skills, and self-awareness is a lifelong journey. Personal growth is not a destination, but a commitment to becoming the best version of yourself, day by day, year by year. When you make this commitment, you honor your potential and cultivate a richer, more fulfilling life. The Stoics deeply valued personal growth, seeing it as the key to leading a virtuous and meaningful life. As Epictetus famously said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Self-mastery, however, requires dedication to personal development. It's a process of refining your mind, expanding your understanding, and cultivating wisdom. Growth becomes a means of liberation, freeing you from ignorance, impulsiveness, and unnecessary suffering. Investing in personal growth is an act of self-respect. It's a way of saying to yourself, I am worthy of the effort it takes to improve. This investment could take many forms: reading books that expand your mind, practicing skills that refine your abilities, seeking mentors who guide you, or taking courses that challenge you. Growth demands time, patience, and often sacrifice, but it is one of the most rewarding investments you can make. Each step forward builds your confidence, strengthens your resilience, and enriches your life. Personal growth also involves understanding your weaknesses and learning from failure. This is not about becoming perfect, but about becoming more aware of your habits, limitations, and areas for improvement. Growth requires humility, the willingness to admit mistakes, learn from them, and try again. The Stoics embraced failure as a teacher. Marcus Aurelius saw setbacks as opportunities to develop virtues like patience, courage, and perseverance. By approaching life with a growth mindset, you transform obstacles into stepping stones, using every challenge as a chance to learn and evolve. Furthermore, investing in your growth empowers you to contribute more meaningfully to the lives of others. The stronger, wiser, and more skilled you become, the more you have to offer the world. This doesn't mean that your growth is for the sake of others, but rather that a well-rounded, fulfilled person naturally uplifts those around them. Your growth inspires others to pursue their own potential, creating a ripple effect that benefits everyone. To commit to personal growth, start by setting clear goals that align with your values. Identify areas in your life where you'd like to improve, whether that's in your career, relationships, health, or mindset. Take small, consistent steps each day. Read, reflect, practice, and seek feedback. Remember that growth is not always linear. There will be setbacks and moments of doubt. But if you stay committed, each effort you make builds upon the last, leading to profound transformation over time. Putting yourself first through personal growth is not selfish. It's a path to self-fulfillment, resilience, and wisdom. By choosing to grow, you show respect for the person you are and the person you are becoming. You honor your life by making it a continuous journey of learning, discovery, and self-mastery. In this pursuit, you'll find a depth of purpose, a strength of character, and a sense of peace that enriches not only your own life, but also the lives of those around you. 10. Embracing solitude, finding clarity and strength in your own company. Putting yourself first often means learning to be alone, not in a state of loneliness, but in a state of solitude. Embracing solitude allows you to connect with your own thoughts, desires, and inner voice without the influence of others. It's a powerful way to find clarity, recharge, and cultivate a deeper relationship with yourself. In solitude, you gain the strength to move through life with purpose, unshaken by external distractions and expectations. The Stoics often withdrew into solitude to reflect and find peace within themselves. Marcus Aurelius, a ruler who faced constant demands on his time, famously wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." This retreat into solitude was essential for reconnecting with his values, thoughts, and inner calm, reminding him of his purpose and grounding him amid chaos. In solitude, we have the opportunity to reflect on who we are and what truly matters to us without distraction. Embracing solitude helps us shed the external expectations that often shape our identities. When we spend time alone, we're free from the roles we play in others' lives: parent, partner, friend, colleague, and can simply be ourselves. In this space, we can listen to our own needs and reflect on our desires, fears, and ambitions. Solitude becomes a place of self-acceptance, where we can honor our unique journey without comparison or judgment. Solitude is also essential for creativity and problem-solving. Without the constant noise of the outside world, your mind has the freedom to wander, explore, and innovate. Ideas arise more freely, and solutions to problems often reveal themselves in the quiet. By spending time alone, you grant yourself the space to create, dream, and envision new possibilities, reconnecting with the limitless potential of your inner world. Moreover, solitude helps you build resilience and independence. When you're comfortable in your own company, you become less reliant on external validation. You find contentment within, making you more resilient to the opinions and expectations of others. You become grounded in your own sense of self, able to navigate life confidently and independently. Solitude cultivates an inner strength that allows you to face challenges with calmness and clarity, knowing that you have everything you need within you. To embrace solitude, start by setting aside time each day to be alone, even if it's just a few minutes. Use this time to reflect, meditate, journal, or simply be present with your thoughts. Avoid distractions and resist the urge to fill the silence with noise. Let your mind settle, your breath slow, and your thoughts come and go freely. Over time, you'll find that solitude is not something to fear or avoid, but a sanctuary where you can find true peace and clarity. By putting yourself first through solitude, you deepen your connection with your inner self and cultivate a sense of wholeness that no external influence can disturb. Solitude becomes a source of strength, creativity, and peace, a quiet refuge where you can return anytime life feels overwhelming. In solitude, you meet yourself fully, discovering the richness of your own mind, the depth of your heart, and the quiet resilience that guides you forward. The power of prioritizing yourself. In a world that often demands your attention, energy, and time, putting yourself first is not just an act of self-care. It's a radical declaration of your worth. By learning to say no, setting healthy boundaries, practicing self-compassion, investing in personal growth, and embracing solitude, you reclaim your life and empower yourself to thrive. Each of these principles reinforces the idea that you are deserving of love, respect, and fulfillment, both from yourself and from others. When you prioritize yourself, you cultivate a deep sense of inner strength and resilience. You learn to navigate life's challenges with clarity, purpose, and confidence. By taking this journey, you not only improve your own life, but also create a ripple effect, inspiring those around you to recognize their own worth and prioritize their well-being. As you reflect on the importance of putting yourself first, I invite you to take action. Consider what areas of your life you've been neglecting and how you can start prioritizing your needs. What steps can you take today to honor yourself more fully? I encourage you to share your experiences with self-prioritization in the comments below. What challenges have you faced in putting yourself first? And what successes have you achieved? Let's create a supportive community where we uplift and inspire one another on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment. Remember, you are not alone in this. We are all in this together, striving for a life of authenticity and fulfillment. Embrace your journey, put yourself first, and watch how it transforms not just your life, but also the lives of those around you.